Hey guys, John Rettinger from Techno Buffalo here with a featured overview for you of the Newton MessagePad 2100 by Apple. People are asking me why I'm showing a device that's 13 years old that no one has seen for close to a decade and a half, and the answer is really simple. I think the Newton MessagePad helped pave the way for modern PDAs and smartphones, and you'll see why in just a minute. Also, it's interesting to see how Apple really implemented user communication with a tablet or slate device, as rumors of Apple's iSlate, or whatever they're going to call it, are really starting to come to the surface. How they handle text input and how they handle controls without really many physical buttons, and the only physical buttons that Newton has is just the power button. I think it's especially pertinent to see how they've done it in the past, maybe get some instances and ideas of how they may do it in the future. Also, some of the designers on the Newton project are supposedly some of the designers that are working on the iSlate, so there are a lot of overlapping things there. Keep in mind that this is still a 13-year-old technology, so try and keep it in perspective for how this might have looked back then. So what we have right here is the main note screen. This is probably the main thing of the device and what you use it most for. So you enter all your text and handle most of your entries. So let me go ahead and show you how it works. This handles text entries in a few ways. The first one I want to show you is via stylus, and of course this is a resistive touchscreen. No one even thought of capacitive back 13 years ago. Still, even 13 years later, this has probably some of the best handwriting recognition software I've ever seen. It's not entirely accurate, but it's very, very close and extremely good. And how it handles the text interaction, editing the text, I think is most important. Let me go ahead and show you. It's broken up into two panels right here. I've got a recording button down below if I want to record voice notes, take advantage of the built-in microphone, or a simple text entry right here, and go ahead and tap the screen. And that brings up a cursor. You can see that sort of little half caret. I can move that around anywhere I want just by tapping. I don't necessarily have to start writing right there, but that's where the text is going to appear. So we'll put it up in the upper left-hand corner like I'm actually going to write a note. And we'll just start typing anywhere I want. So I'll write, "This is a test." And you see it start to populate up there. This is a test. It got it completely right. You can change this to use cursive or regular handwriting. My handwriting is a mess anyway, so we're going to stick with this. Let's go ahead and write something different. We'll start it down here. And I'm going to try and write messy so it can see if it makes a mistake or two. And we'll write "This is a test" again, sort of as fast and as sloppy as I can. So it didn't even get that close. So let's say I want to edit one of the words. I wrote, "This is NDR." Not quite close. And I want this to say "test" at the end. Well, I can actually write right over the letters. It's a really cool way to correct text. You don't have to move your cursor, highlight a letter, and then start typing. You actually just write right over it. So let's make that N a T, for example. Now it's a T. Make that D an E. Becomes an E. And now suddenly it says "This is a test." Pretty neat. So how do you handle some of the other text entries? How do you delete or copy or move stuff around? Well, let me show you how to do that. We'll deal with this piece at the top. If I tap to the left of it, make that little squeaky noise, I can actually drag the cursor and it highlights the text. Now if I just tap it, I can move it anywhere I want. And if I double tap and move, it's actually going to copy it for me. Oops. Mistake. Go ahead and delete this. We'll try this piece of text right here. And now it copies it. So I've got these bits of text everywhere. How do I delete them? Well, just the way you really would or expect. You just sort of scribble over it. And it'll delete it for you. Some things you have to highlight to delete first, some you don't. But generally I found it works best if you're going to highlight the text. So it's pretty intuitive actually to work and erase things. Just sort of start drawing over them, and they will all disappear. Also, it's kind of satisfying to scribble. You hear that animation, you see the animation, and the text or image disappears. There are a few other ways to input text as well. Let me show you what those are. So this is really one of the earlier devices to have a on-screen keyboard, and it's sort of big. I don't think you can type with your fingers, but it's not bad for using a stylus. So I'll try that again and see how quickly we can go. So you get "This is a test" again. You get that sort of keyboard or a typewriter sounding noise, Nothing, that revolutionary, but at the time, 13 years ago, it was pretty neat to have this sort of text entry. We'll go ahead and delete that. We're going to close it rather, by that X in the bottom right corner. Sort of weird to see an Apple device with the X, but that's how it worked. Now you can also go ahead and delete this here. Now you can also draw shapes, and Newton does a really cool job of recognizing shapes and actually fixing them for you. And I'll show you how that works as well. So I hit this button right here. It looks like an A. I can go to Shapes. And now I can start drawing some shapes. So I'm going to draw, let's say, a circle the best I can. I'm certainly no artist, but saw that the Newton corrected it to make it more of a round circle. I'll try and make this one look a little less circly. So you see how the Newton sort of brought it together. There you go, fix it. Let's try a square. Squared it. We'll try a rectangle. So it made it look a little better. Same thing with triangles. It'll just make them look a little bit better. And things work the same as far as highlighting and moving things around if you'd like, or even just drawing right on top of it. It's pretty neat, actually. Sort of move the triangle anywhere you want. If you were doing floor plans, would be an example of why you would want something like this. If you're doing graphing, you can make it look a little more exact. And again, a lot of this seems like, yeah, of course. But keep in mind, again, this is 13 years ago. So the fact that the device was able to do this was really cool. This was really before Palm and the Palm Pilot started coming around, and even had some sort of handwriting recognition. Even then, they had a set formula you had to follow to draw your letters. For those of you that might remember the old Palm Pilot or even the old Trios, in order to draw a T, you had to follow a very exact pattern to draw your letters. If you deviated from that pattern, the text wouldn't recognize. Here you could really draw letters any way you wanted, and it worked quite well. The Newton does a lot of other things as well that you can do, and I'll show you some of them here. You go to New, you can do an outline, for example. If you are in class and you want to take notes, it's great for doing bullet points. So you can select how you want your outlines to be, whether indented, or how you want them set up, or a new one. So as you're sitting in class, you can start typing. And it'll pull it right up there. This class sucks. It's certainly probably what I would have written when I was sitting in class. So there's a lot of other things that you can do. You can move this part down so you don't want to record. You can have full access to the screen. The Newton really did a lot. One of the biggest drawbacks of the Newton, I'm going to pan back just a bit, is the size of this thing. This is nothing that you could just throw in your pocket. I mean, it was really big and very thick, as you can see. It was something that you definitely want to keep in your bag and just hope that nothing would happen to it. It was a very cool device, and I'm really enjoying playing with it. I'll come back in this video series and show you some other things that Newton does, and I hope this gives you sort of a sense of maybe how Apple handled text input in the past on a tablet, and how Apple may handle it in the future with their iSlate, or whatever they're going to call their new tablet. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the sort of flashback look at some old Apple technology that doesn't get much love. This was the last Newton message pad that came out, the 2100. It ran just about $1,000 when it was released, which is sort of the same price point we're hearing about for Apple's new tablet. It could play your sounds back to the speaker, built-in microphone. It showed many shades of gray, which is quite neat. Older models didn't really have this virtual icon array across the bottom. So the message pad had some very cool and advanced technology for its time, and some features that really are impressive right now. This had copy and paste. The iPhone, when it was launched, didn't even have that. There's a lot of talk being made over the advantage of a capacitive touchscreen. I certainly agree. I think capacitive is certainly the future and a more advanced way to interact with the touchscreen. But when you're dealing with the resistive, you do get to use a stylus, for better or worse. And this is one of the better standpoints. We can write right on the screen. So I don't know if Apple's going to be able to do some sort of finger writing, whether you can write with just your fingertip. I don't think that would work so well. But maybe it'll be a virtual keyboard, or maybe it'll be even that weird bumpy haptic keyboard we saw them patent. But just for fun, I'm going to try writing with my finger and see how that would work if I was using a capacitive touchscreen without the stylus. So right off the bat, you can see that it's much harder to write small. I really had to write as big as I could. It's having a hard time recognizing it because it's completely inaccurate. So you can definitely get a sense that maybe using your finger to write actual text would be difficult, so we'd have to imagine we'll see some sort of virtual keyboard on the new tablet that Apple is supposedly releasing or going to announce at the end of January. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed. I'm John Rettinger from Techno Buffalo. For all your tech news and to make your own tech blog and monetize it, be sure to check out technobuffalo.com. For exclusive content and get in early on some contests and cool giveaways, check me out at Twitter, twitter.com/John4Lakers. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.